Hello, grade 5. How are you? Today we're gonna start lesson 3 in chapter 7. This lesson is called Conflicts Grow. Okay, guys, you know that we stopped in lesson 2 at the point that Britain started to create new taxes over the colonists in America, such as the Tea Act, the Stamp Act, the Sugar Act. Okay, and in return, the colonists started to boycott, for example, to smuggle, to make agreements, to make committees, and agree on a point how to defend themselves and how to express that they refuse the taxes. They refused the existence of the I'm sorry, of the British soldiers in America, and they refused that they didn't have representatives in the British Parliament. Okay. So now in this lesson, we're going to speak about that conflicts grow. It means what conflicts grow? It means that the problems between the Americans and the British government started to increase. Okay. The first title we have today is Trouble in Boston. What happened in Boston? What happened in Boston is a problem or is a conflict between five colonists and the British soldiers. This conflict led to a massacre of or killing of many people. So here is, guys, remember that your book said that. Remember that Britain sent soldiers to America. Why? To preserve or to keep the Ohio River Valley. Don't forget, and also they protect. I'm sorry, they sent some soldiers to protect its officials in Boston. You remember in the last lesson, in lesson 2, when I said that the colonists started to beat, okay, the officials or the taxes officials. Okay, so Britain sent some soldiers to protect these officials who collect taxes in Boston. Okay, the people of Boston didn't want the British soldiers in their city, and frustrated colonists often fought with the soldiers. So, because they didn't want the officials who collect taxes, and also they didn't want the soldiers to exist or to be in the city in Boston, they all the time get into a conflict or into fight with the soldiers. So on March 5, 1770, a fight began when a crowd of people in Boston, guys, fight with a British soldiers. The crowd started to yield, okay, and throw snowballs. But when the soldiers arrived, suddenly one soldier fired a shot. Boom, boom. Okay, so what happened? Several other soldiers fired also their guns. And then imagine this event, okay, it's something like a killing of many people, or it's something like a massacre. I told you. So here is, guys, five colonists were killed, and one of them was called the Crispus Attucks. He was African American, and he is remembered till nowadays as a hero. Okay, so this fight or this problem was famous for its name, that it's a massacre. Okay, well, the meaning of this word, it means killing of many people. After that, what happened? After killing five colonists, now the colonists want to take revenge. Okay, want to take an action against the British government, especially the British soldiers. So we have here conflicts. I'm sorry, colonists take action. What did they take, or what did they do? Paul Revere, he is a member in Son of Liberty, okay, created a picture of this massacre. It showed how the soldier shooting at the colonists, okay, and how the colonists were peaceful, not angry. Sons of Liberty used this picture to convince and to encourage the colonists, okay, that the British soldiers were dangerous and they didn't want them again in America. Okay, So here is we have John Adams. He was an important postal lawyer. John Adams defended the soldiers, okay, and he wanted to show to Britain that that America or the colonial courts were fair. Of course, some soldiers were put into jail, and some soldiers were lightly punished, okay, and some soldiers were proved to be free. After that, guys, after that time, Samuel Adams wanted more colonists to know what's happening around the colonies. So, what happens, guys? In 1772, they started to establish something called Committee of Correspondence. Okay, this committee means meeting of correspondence. What the reason of establishing this meeting or this committee? Of course, to share the news with other colonies. And soon every colony has a committee of correspondence. So in each colony, they have committee of correspondence to discuss what the British government do against the American colonists in America. Okay. After that, here we have the Boston Tea Party. What happened in Boston Tea Party? You know, guys, that in 1773, the Parliament, the English Parliament, passed a law or passed the Tea Act. This Tea Act said what? This Tea Act said that Britain will sell tea in America in at a very low price. Okay? You know that merchants or the American merchants in the last years they started to smuggle. It means that they bought the products in an illegal way. You know, guys, that the British tea, okay, is cheaper than the tea or the smuggled tea, okay? But the colonists in America refused to buy the smuggled tea. Why? Because if they bought the smuggled tea, it means that they encourage England or encourage Britain on collecting the taxes. So here is, guys, if the colonists bought the inexpensive tea, it means that the smuggled tea of Britain, it means that they would paying the British taxes at the same time. So they didn't buy the tea. And the tea was left on the ships, okay, in the harbor for days. Until one day in the night, Sons of Liberty members, they gathered in the harbor and threw all the tea into the harbor. Of course, if you imagine the scene, look how they threw all the tea into the water. Okay, so what happened? Boston Tea Party, this event or this accident was called Boston Tea Party. Okay, because of Boston Tea Party, Britain shocked, and the Parliament or the British Parliament, led by Lord Frederick North, they passed a law. This law was Coercive Act. It's called the Coercive Act. What is the Coercive Act? Coercive Act is this act or these laws to punish the colonists in America or in Massachusetts. Okay, so here is, guys, these laws were called intolerable acts. Why? Because number one, they stopped the trade between Boston and Britain. Okay, number two, they ended most of the town meetings. You know, this committee of correspondence or something they made to share the ideas and share news with each other. No, Britain stopped all of that. It ended all of that, and also Britain take more control over the colony government. Okay, of course, the British soldiers returned back to Boston, and now Bostonians had to quarter the soldiers. What the meaning of that? It means that people in America they have to give the soldiers food and shelter. Okay, now Committee of Correspondence spread news about this act, about coercive act, and people through the colonies were furious and upset with Britain. They felt that the laws were too harsh. Okay, okay. So let's move. What did the Americans do? The colonists or the Americans agreed to hold a meeting to discuss the intolerable act, how we react against this act, how we defend ourselves. So they sent some delegates. Delegates means representatives, okay, to meet in Philadelphia. Well, the meaning of delegate, delegate means is someone who is chosen to speak and act for others. Okay, so delegates exactly have the same meaning as representatives. So on September 5, 1774, these representatives or delegates from every colony except Georgia, they meet together. And after the meeting, by the way, this meeting was called the First Continental Congress. The First Continental Congress. Okay, what did the representatives do in this meeting? They wrote a letter to the British government, okay, and also the other American colonists in America. The letter said that number one, they have the same freedom as the British citizens in Britain. Number two, they asked the King of Britain, okay, and the English Parliament to stop any taxes, okay, over the colonists in America, okay, and without their agreement. Also, they decided to meet again in May if the king refused their demands. Okay, guys, what else? In that time, the colonists stopped the trade with Britain according to the Coercive Act, and they began to train for battle in case of war with Britain. Okay, so they stopped trade and they prepared themselves for any war in any time with Britain. And then the king made some plans to send some soldiers to Boston because after this letter sent to him, he declared that the colonists started to rebel or began a rebellion. Okay, this is our lesson today, guys. Listen to the video again. If you need any question, contact me anytime. Thank you and goodbye.